Hello folks, Cowboy Joe here with a recapitulation of section 1010 on energy and work, and your goal by the end of this video lecture will be to describe the relationship between work and energy, calculate work, and calculate the power used. So if you were to guess the formula for work, what variables would be in its formula? If we were paid money based on the physics formula for work, what would you measure to calculate someone's pay? If the force is constant on an object and the object accelerates, it would accelerate according to Newton's second law. And we can solve Newton's second law for A, giving us A equals F over m. And we can use our third equation and manipulate its form by minusing VO squared from both sides. Then we can sub in the A's value from Newton's second law into A, giving us this equation. Continued derivations, multiplying both sides by m, and multiplying both sides by half would allow you to find work. Work is defined to be force times displacement. And if the force and displacement are in the same direction, then all we have to do to calculate work is multiply the force and the displacement. Now, if we were to find the units for work, we could sub in a Newton for an F, and we could sub in an M, a meter, for a D, and this is defined to be a J, which is a joule. Jingle exerts a constant 4.50 Newton force over a distance of 0.150 meters on a hockey puck that has a mass of 105 grams to slide it across the ice. Well, how much work did he do on the puck? Well, let's look at our formula. How much work? W is what we're looking for. F in this problem is the Newton number. We can insert 4.50 newtons in for the force. And how far did it go? 0.150, and all we have to do is multiply to get 0.675 joules. Notice a Newton meter is a joule. Let's look at another one. Sarah wears a 7.5 kilogram backpack while scaling a cliff. After 30 minutes, the climber is 8.2 meters above the starting point. How much work does she do on the backpack? Well, in order to move a backpack, we have to move the weight of the backpack a certain distance. So our formula for work is force times displacement. Our force is the weight, which is Fg. So we need the weight of the backpack. So we need the mass of the backpack times gravity in order to get the weight. The mass would be 7.5, gravity would be 9.8, and the distance moved would be 8.2. Multiplying those three things together, we get 600 joules to 2 sig figs. Next question, if Sarah weighed 645 newtons, how much work does she do entirely lifting herself and the backpack that distance? Well, we have 600 joules already from lifting the backpack. Now we just have to add the work to lift herself. 645 newtons would be the force. The distance would be 8.2. That product gives us 5,300, and 600 gives us 5,900 joules. Let's continue our derivation. FD we just found is work, so we can sub in work for FD. Now on the left-hand side, this is a change in kinetic energy. The left-hand side is representing kinetic energy. One of these expressions would be the formula for kinetic energy, 1/2 mv squared. The kinetic energy of an object is equal to 1/2 times the mass of the object multiplied by the speed of the object squared. Now, if we looked at the units for this, 1/2 has no units, mass would be kilograms, and velocity would be meters per second, and that quantity would be squared. Squaring that quantity and pulling out an m would give us a Newton times a meter, which is the same as what we just got done talking about for work. Work is Newton meters. So kinetic energy is also a joule. which is a Newton meter. So let's look at this formula. Kinetic energy is 1/2 the mass times the velocity squared. A comet has a certain mass, strikes an Earth at a speed of 25 kilometers per second. Find the kinetic energy. Watch out for that K. Remember, it's 1,000 times 1,000, so 25,000 meters per second. So inserting those numbers, we got 7.85 times 10 to the 11th would be the mass of this comet times 25,000 meters per second squared. So we should end up with 2.45 times 10 to the 20th joules. So on the left-hand side, we can represent that change in with a delta KE. Now that delta KE means change in energy is equal to the work. So the change in energy is equal to the work done on a system, and this is called the work energy theorem. And again, this relationship between work done and the change in energy resulted from James Prescott Joule, who was a 19th century physicist. So in honor of his work, the unit for energy or work is called a joule. So remember the problem we started with Jingle, the hockey player who hit a puck. We ended up with this amount of work. That's the amount of work done on the system. So what is the change in the puck's energy? If we continue this formula, 0.675 would be work. What's the change in the puck's energy? That would be the same. It would be 0.675 joules. So if we know the change in kinetic energy, we can sub in the formula 1/2 mv squared. Since it started at rest, we can actually calculate the final velocity. What is the change in the puck's velocity? All we're doing is solving for delta V. So in this case, we want to multiply both sides by 2, divide both sides by 0.105, and then we want to square root that answer because of this little tiny 2 right here above the V. So 3.59 would be the change in the velocity, and this would also represent the final velocity. Remember, final minus the original would be the delta V, and since the original was 0, this would have to be 3.59 meters per second. So if Jingle exerted twice as much force on the puck, up to 9 newtons now, moving at the same distance, how would the puck's change in kinetic energy be affected? Well, if we doubled this F to 9, we would double, remember that 0.675 number? We doubled the kinetic energy. If the force isn't in the same direction as the displacement, then we have to find the component that is, and that would be using cosine. So work does have this extension. If they are not in the same direction, make sure you're using cosine of theta. Now theta represents the angle between the force and the displacement. All right, let's try another example. A sailor pulls a boat a certain distance along a dock using a rope, making a 25-degree angle with the horizontal. So that is the angle between the direction the boat is going and the direction of the force. So in our formula, that is going to be the theta that we're looking for. How much work does the sailor do on the boat if he exerts a 255 Newton force on the rope, moving at 30 meters? So 255 times 30 times cosine of 25 would give us 6,930 joules of work. Let's look at another one. If the sailor pulled with the same force and along the same distance, but the angle changed to 50, how much work did he do? Well, work is defined to be force times distance times cosine of the angle. So the angle is the only thing that changed in this problem. So we had 6,930 on the last problem. It would reduce the amount of work, would be only 4,920 joules. If we were going in the same direction, we'd be doing the most work. Looking at another problem, the alternate curve mascot steamer uses a rope to pull a metal box a distance of 15 meters across the field. The rope is held at an angle with the field, and the force that he exerts on the box is 628 newtons. How much work does steamer do? And really, he doesn't do any work. He just goes around and annoys people. But in terms of physics, he is doing some work. Remember, work is force times distance times the cosine of the angle. If he applies a 628 newtons force applied to a rope in this direction, here's the box. Ooh, that's a nice looking box. This is 46 degrees with the field. So here's the field going across, and this is 46 degrees. So the angle between the direction of the force, well, come on, circle. So this would be the direction that he is pulling, the direction of the force, and this would be the direction of the displacement. The angle between them is 46 degrees. So we have 628 newtons times 15 meters times the cosine of that 46 degrees, which gives us 6,540 joules of energy. All right, so let's look at this problem. Brock pushes a broken down toy car, which has a mass of 13 kilograms up a steep hill. The incline is 25 degrees and the road is 275 meters long. He pushes the car parallel to the road with a force of 25 newtons. So if this was horizontal and this would be the road, this would be 25 degrees. His force is in the direction of the road. The displacement would be in that same direction. So looking at our formula, the angle between the force and the displacement would be 0. Cosine 0 is 1, so our answer would be just 25 newtons times 275, which gives us 6,900 joules. Let's look at another problem. How much work is done by the force of gravity? Well, gravity is going to be pointing straight down. The force of gravity pulls you straight down. So if this was our force, what would be the angle between this force and this d? So our formula would be the same, force times displacement times the cosine of the angle between the force and displacement. Our force is straight down, our displacement is 25 degrees above the horizontal, so this is 90 degrees. The angle between them would be this 90 plus 25, giving us an angle of 115. Now remember, we're talking about the weight of the car. The weight of the car is going to be F sub g, which is mass of the car times gravity, which is 13 times 9.8. So we're looking at 13 times 9.8 times the distance it's moved times the cosine of the angle between them. 90 plus 25 gives us that 115. So we're looking at negative 15,000 joules of work. Power is the rate at which work is done, and is represented by this formula, work divided by time. So work, notice the W's here. We can get confused. Work, the symbol W represents work. The unit W for power would represent watt. So this W is a unit, and this is a symbol in an equation. This comes after a number, so you got to keep your W's straight. But power is force times distance divided by time, which is a watt. And a watt is a relatively small unit of power. It's the amount of power needed to lift a glass of water to drink it. So an electric motor lifts an elevator 9 meters in 15 seconds by exerting a certain force. What power does the motor produce in kilowatts? Well, power is force times distance divided by time. Force is 12,000 Newton number, goes in for the F. The distance it's moved is 9. They're in the same direction. We don't have to worry about cosine of theta. How long did it take? 15 seconds. So you just multiply across and divide by 15 to get 7,200, or 7.20 times 10 to the third watts. And this right here, 10 to the third is a K. So that would be a kilowatt. 7.20 kilowatts. Let's look at another one. A box that weighs 575 is lifted a distance straight up. So they're in the same direction. So the force times the distance is just this product here. The job is done in 10 seconds. Put a 10 down the bottom. And the question is, what is the power developed in watts and kilowatts? So force times distance divided by time gives us 1150 watts. Divided by 1,000 gives us 1.15 kilowatts. A winch designed to be mounted on a truck is advertised as being able to exert this amount of force to develop a certain amount of power. This is your P, kilowatts. 300 watts of power. How long would it take the truck and the winch to pull an object 15 meters? So what do we know? We know power is force times distance divided by time. We know the power is given to be 300 watts. So this is 300. Watch that K means times 1,000. Equals your force times the distance divided by the time. Cross multiply, you're taking this product divided by 300. And that's it, folks. We got a summary page talking about how we derived our two formulas from the work energy theorem. Using Newton's second law in equation 3, we derived a formula for work to be force times distance times cosine of the angle measured in joules, and also kinetic energy, which is 1/2 the mv squared, also measured in joules. And that formula, work energy formula, which says the work done on a system is equal to the change in kinetic energy. We also have a formula for power, which is work divided by time. And that's it, folks. Cowboy Joe out.